Welcome everyone. In today's show, I'm going to be breaking down the latest technical analysis as the Bitcoin difficulty jumps 6% to a new peak as miners ignore the Bitcoin price dip. We'll also be discussing one metric hinting at an opportunity of a lifetime to be accumulating BTC. We'll also be discussing the $20 billion delay as the appeal court pushes back the decision on Grayscale spot Bitcoin ETF. We'll also be sharing Bitcoin still on track for a huge bull market despite losing critical support, according to top crypto analyst Dave the Wave, and quoting Max Keiser, gold prices are provably manipulated. Arresting these guys hasn't stopped it. Bitcoin futures ETFs, not spot price ETFs, allow similar price suppression scams. This is why futures ETFs are getting approval, but not the spot price ones. We'll also be discussing Michael Saylor's $1 million price prediction. He says it looks like a spot ETF will probably get approved, sending the Bitcoin price to $1 million per coin. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more in today's show. And welcome y'all just joining us. A quick reminder to smash that like button and subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And this is the new avatar for Crypto News Alerts. Let me know what you think about this new design. And of course, we drop a brand new episode every single day under lives. We go live 7 days a week. And I just want to say I greatly appreciate everyone's support. Welcome everyone just tuning in and joining us. The crypto market is pumping once again, which we love to see. Bitcoin's on the cusp of recapturing 27,000 and the entire market is back in the green. If that excites you, let me know in the comments below. Checking out our market watch right here, and shout out to everyone in the live chat. You can see Bitcoin trading at 26,700, up 3.5% for the day. We have Ether trading at just about 1,700, up 4% for the day. And some of the top gainers in the top cryptos include Solana and Cardano. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, we're back on the climb with about 37 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. The Bitcoin dominance at 48.5% and the Ether dominance at 18.9%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past week, a sea of green. Finally, it's about time. Only a handful in the red. Massive gains across the entire altcoin market. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, we're still stuck in fear, unfortunately, but I have a good feeling this will be updated tomorrow, probably back in neutral. Last month, we were in greed. And now let's check out our Bitcoin technical analysis for the day. Check out the charts and what is happening. And again, welcome to everyone just joining us. Make sure to say hello in the live chat and let us know where you're tuning in from. For the technicals, we're using TradingView today. You can see the oscillators overall. The signal is neutral, and we have a strong sell for the moving averages at this current time. You can see relative strength index on the left, neutral. The majority of all of these indicators are neutral, but on the right, most of the exponential moving averages are currently in sell territory, as a lot of people have been selling, I'd say, in the past 48, 72 hours. But guess what? We're pumping and back in the green. So hopefully we can climb back above 27,000 and eventually recapture that 32,000 level, which is the current high for the year. And a quick reminder, there's not much resistance in between that 32 and 40,000 level. So do you guys think we're likely to continue dropping down as everyone was preaching doom and gloom the past 2-3 days in the market when we had like over $1 billion liquidated, etc.? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments right down below. You already know, if you're tuned into Crypto News Alerts, I am bullish every single day, 365 days out of the year, because I understand Bitcoin. I understand the long haul trajectory is up because I have a long-term investment mindset. I'm looking at this thing 5-10 years plus out. I'm not looking, what's the price going to be tomorrow or next week? Let me know if you guys can relate. But with that being shared, fam, now let's discuss the Bitcoin difficulty adjustment, which just occurred, which is always a good sign as the network continues to get stronger and stronger. And this is very strong fundamentals. Bitcoin's network fundamentals are in no mood to follow bearish Bitcoin price action this week. The latest on-chain data confirms that difficulty hits yet another all-time high, with the hash rate not far behind. And as Max Keiser commonly shares, the Bitcoin price follows the hash rate. That's facts, fam. So keeping that in mind, let me know if you are currently bullish. So despite dropping 10% last week, the miners appear to be taking the price downturn in their stride. This was cemented in the network activity August 22nd as difficulty increased 6% at its latest biweekly automated adjustment. Not only was this enough to take the difficulty to the new record highs, but it also marked Bitcoin's sixth largest difficulty uptick of this year. And figures from monitoring resource BTC.com show difficulty is a reflection of both miner capitulation and the Bitcoin network security, and its upwards trajectory suggests that the miners are not yet struggling when it comes to profitability. That means the miners are in profit. The next automated readjustment is already due to continue the trend, taking difficulty over 56 trillion for the first time in history. And here you're looking at that all-time high chart for the difficulty adjustment, showing the Bitcoin network fundamentals stronger than ever. Now, a similar story concerns the hash rate. The estimated hashing deployment by miners to the Bitcoin blockchain, and while not possible to calculate exactly, so depending upon the source, hash rate is already challenging existing all-time highs of over 400 exahashes per second. Let's freaking go. Responding to the data, we have the MACD, a contributor to on-chain analytics platform CryptoQuant, referenced high confidence in the security and reliability amongst network participants for both Bitcoin and the largest altcoin, Ether, quoting them here. Recently, the prices of Bitcoin and Ethereum have fallen by negative 10%. However, the network security and reliability have increased. Go figure. First, the Bitcoin hash rate shows higher figures during the decline, which shows that miners are more active in Bitcoin mining. And second, the Ethereum staking rate shows that more ETH has been staked, even though the price has fallen. Quoting them again, this means that investors have high confidence in the security and reliability of Bitcoin and the Ether networks. The fact that the price had fallen despite the increase in the intrinsic value of the two assets means that they are undervalued, and it can be considered a time to actively accumulate those assets. So you already know, fam, keep stacking them sats. And isn't this a sexy chart showing you the Bitcoin hash rate as it continues to climb? And separate data from on-chain analytics firm Glassnode shows little tangible change in the amount of Bitcoin held by mining entities. This stood at just over 1.83 million BTC as of yesterday, up by a steady 0.08% since the start of the month. So there you have it. I mean, let me know in the comments how many of you are currently bullish on the King crypto and anticipating that price climbing as we inch closer and closer to that Bitcoin halving right around the corner, estimated to be sometime in April of 2024. We also are going to be talking about the spot Bitcoin ETF, as upon approval, we can send the Bitcoin price north of $1 million, according to the one and only Michael Saylor, which we'll be covering in great detail a little later on in the show. Now let's discuss some mass accumulation going on. We've been discussing this as the whales continue to hodl and continue to stack sats, while the short-term hodlers are the ones with the weak hands, the paper hands, who are selling to the strong hands. But anyways, let's discuss this accumulation. Crypto data platform Santiment is offering insight into signals that could indicate the right time to accumulate Bitcoin, as well as the alts. Santiment marketing director Brian Quinvolian says that buying opportunities for crypto assets have historically presented themselves when trader sentiment is neither pessimistic or optimistic across the major social media platforms such as Reddit and X, quoting them here. When all four social media platforms align and have settled back down to neutral mentions of buying the dip, this is when the actual opportunity has historically presented itself for patient traders. Patience be thy name. What's up, sages? Now, believe it or not, it is a good sign that people are no longer certain that this is a buy the dip spot. It means that pessimism is beginning to take over again as the market caps fade. And according to the analysts, optimism in the crypto community was high immediately after Bitcoin fell close to 26,000 for the first time since June, but the sentiment quickly changed, quoting them again. What has happened following the Bitcoin drop to 26,100 and subsequent altcoin bloodbath? For starters, it is no surprise we saw a huge rise in buy the dip mentions. This indicates that trader optimism was quite high and there could be a quick market recovery. But look at how the wishful thinking has died down considerably in the past few days. Now, on the level of discussion that Bitcoin and the alts are currently experiencing, Sentiment's director of marketing shared the following. We can also see that the percentage of discussions related to Bitcoin spiked to its highest level of the year on the tail end of the market crash. However, instead of Bitcoin social dominance staying high, it quickly dropped back down to relatively normal levels as traders appear to be showing some greed in relation to whatever the hot altcoin on the block are currently. Now, we could actually like to see the social dominance stay quite high, as this scenario is usually correlated with thriving and healthy crypto markets. High discussion related to the number one asset coincides with fear, whereas discussions about more speculative assets tend to coincide with greed, and fear is when the markets rise. Facts. So there you have it. Let me know if you are currently accumulating, or are you getting rid of your bags in hopes that the price drops lower. I know a lot of people were like very bearish in the past few days in the show. They're like, yo, we're going to be dropping back down sub 20,000. Some people predicting a new low for the cycle. Current low is sitting at roughly 15,700. And I'm skeptical of all that. There's always a probability that anything could happen, but I just do not see the price action dropping sub 20,000, but we'll see how it plays out. I'm just too bullish coming with the halving around the corner, all the ETFs and the apps from the likes of Fidelity and BlackRock, and the list goes on and on. Obviously, that's the smart money, and we like to follow the smart money and not the dumb money, as we discuss often here in the show. Now let's discuss in more detail the spot Bitcoin ETF and what is happening. Unfortunately, Grayscale got pushed back, so it's not going to be approved anytime soon. Here we go. The DC Circuit Court of Appeals was expected to give a ruling on Grayscale spot Bitcoin ETF lawsuit against the US SEC on August 22nd, which is supposed to have been yesterday, following its failure to do so on August 18th. However, the crypto community would have to wait longer, as the court has once again failed to make a decision. And as Max Keiser points out here off the back of this news, just in, former JP Morgan gold traders Michael Nowak and Greg Smith sentenced to prison for prolific spoofing, which ultimately means manipulation of the gold prices. Nothing new. JP Morgan has been getting fined hundreds of millions and billions of dollars for years for manipulation of the precious metals markets. So as Max shares here, gold prices are provably manipulated. Arresting these guys hasn't stopped it. The Bitcoin futures ETFs enables the Bitcoin price manipulation in similar ways. This is why the Bitcoin futures ETFs get approved and not the spot price versions. And obviously Max Keiser makes a great point right there. Now, according to a tweet by Grayscale's chief legal officer, the appeal court failed to make a decision regarding his company's lawsuit against the SEC. However, he pointed out there were no rulings for that day in what might be a move to quench any notion that the court was intentionally stalling the case. This marks the third delay, thanks to Gensler, Mr. No Clarity Gary of the SEC, of the much anticipated verdict, as the court previously has been expected to give a decision August 15th and then August 18th, so it remains uncertain when a decision could come next, as legal experts had earlier projected the court to give its verdict this month. I honestly don't think they're going to give a verdict till next year. What are your thoughts? Chat, let us know in the comments. Now, Grayscale's lawsuit against the SEC dates back to last year, when the company reportedly tried to persuade the commission to convert its $20 billion Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which is a GBTC product, to a spot Bitcoin ETF, which the SEC rejected. Why? They prefer futures ETFs and continue to control the markets, in which Max Keiser pointed out, right? So following the rejection, Grayscale sued the regulator, arguing that it had acted indiscriminately by not giving its requests the same treatment it does similar investment funds. Good for them. I hope they win the lawsuit against the SEC personally. Now, Grayscale believes that the spot Bitcoin ETF should be approved like the Bitcoin futures ETFs. It is the final oral argument in March. The crypto firm argued that the SEC's disapproval order against it was contradictory. It emphasized the regulator's inconsistency in denying a spot Bitcoin ETF while approving a Bitcoin futures ETF. In fact, they just continue approving more and more futures ETFs. I wonder why. The company further argued that both investment vehicles pose the same risk of fraud and manipulation, and also stated that the pricing of both futures and spot Bitcoin markets are 99.9% correlated, which means they are subject to the same risks. And as such, since the SEC found the CME surveillance sharing agreement sufficient enough to protect against the risk in the futures market, it should be able to deem it sufficient to approve a spot Bitcoin ETF. So why Grayscale's case could be a game changer? Listen up. Grayscale is one of several financial firms that have applied to the SEC to offer a spot Bitcoin ETF. And interestingly, the company filed this application while it awaits a decision from the court regarding its lawsuit against the SEC. However, considering that the SEC had remained reluctant to approve these apps, a verdict in favor of Grayscale could potentially force the hands of the commission to finally approve a spot Bitcoin ETF. So that's the silver lining. Such a verdict will undoubtedly be a boost for the crypto industry, as it would pave the way for institutional investors to have direct access to crypto assets, something which could further spur the mass adoption of cryptocurrencies. Preach. Wouldn't we all like to see that? And Max also shared here in response to Zero Hedge, who wrote, there was much mockery of articles about gold manipulation in the 2008 and 2016 period. Quoting this article here, the JP Morgan case is part of a crackdown by federal prosecutors on illegal spoofing, where the traders place bogus orders to move the prices up or down and then quickly cancel them before they're executed. Smith and Nowak used the technique to manipulate gold and silver prices from 2008 to 2016. And as Max again points out on this other thread, the Bitcoin futures ETFs allow the similar price suppression scams. This is why futures ETFs are getting approval, but not the spot price ones. So there you freaking have it. Do you think that the SEC will eventually approve all of these ETF spot apps? And if so, by what date? I'm highly skeptical they're going to approve anytime soon this year, but I am pretty confident they'll start being approved next year. I think BlackRock has a good opportunity to be the first one approved, considering it's the largest asset manager in the world. Then we also have, Kathy Wood's company with ARK 21 shares. We have Fidelity and, Wisdom Tree. There's just so many out there, and it could be like a domino cascading effect. Once one gets approved, they may all simultaneously get approved, ushering in trillions of dollars virtually overnight into the crypto market. So I cannot freaking wait. Now let's discuss our next story of the day, and that is a huge bull run incoming, shall we? Let's see right here. According to crypto analyst Dave the Wave, shout out to Dave, he tells his followers that the short-term indicators are not the most reliable predictors for the Bitcoin price given the current crypto market conditions. He says that indicators with a broader view of the Bitcoin price patterns indicate the bull market cycle is continuing to take shape. Despite breaking through the key support levels on the plunge to the 25,000 range, Dave the Wave uses his own version of the logarithmic growth curves, which attempts to forecast Bitcoin macro highs and lows while filtering out medium-term volatility and noise, and the Gaussian channels momentum indicators that can be used to identify price tops as well as bottoms. Quoting the analyst here, beware, the shorter-term indicators that might suggest the support for Bitcoin bull market had been lost. Price is right where it should be in the terms of the LGC and in terms of a normal consolidation after a solid run-up. The analyst continues to believe that the 200-week moving average is no longer an indicator of a key price support level for BTC. Quoting him again, as outlined in an earlier date, a Bitcoin metric such as the 200-week moving average becomes less significant as technical support as the market matures. And he previously said, why would the Bitcoin 200-week moving average remain a support of price? If the macro trend is one of reducing the volatility and diminishing returns, then it would eventually become a mean of price, with the price oscillating around it. The trader also says he's looking for an entry point for the smart contract platform ETH. Based on the weekly chart, he predicts ETH is on the verge of making a move to the upside. Quoting him here, waiting and watching, the weekly Gaussian about to turn up on ETH/USD. My last position trade turned out to be not too shabby. Looking for another, less volatile this time around. So there you have it. How many of you are currently bullish on Ethereum? Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments right down below. And what are your thoughts on what he had to share in regards to the LGC model, which we commonly cover here on the show? Holla at your boy in the live chat. And now for our main story of the day, the Giga Chat himself, Michael Saylor, predicting the likelihood of a spot Bitcoin ETF being approved, which will send the Bitcoin price to $1 million per coin. If you'd personally love to see a $1 million BTC, let me know in the comments below, and let's see if we'll make this baby happen. So here we go. This is a prediction he made, which I transcribed from an interview. Here's what Michael Saylor had to say word for word. It looks like a spot ETF will probably get approved. There is massive political pressure to approve one. Facts. books. The circumstances have changed, and now there is a way for the SEC to approve it without backtracking on its previous legal and policy guidance. Certainly, there are a lot of Wall Street entities that have a vested interest in seeing this happen. If you're an institution, one way to get Bitcoin exposure is to buy the underlying asset, but there have been challenges with finding the right exchange to buy it on and custody arrangement. So a similar way to do so is to buy the spot ETF. There are trillions of dollars in capital that is required to invest in a security that trades in these compliant forums and is understating the obvious. There's tens of trillions of dollars. So there is a lot of capital that can't buy the Bitcoin or self-custody the Bitcoin. They don't want to do charter. Maybe it's against the tax code. Maybe when they raised $10 billion from public investors, they raised it to invest in securities, but not interested in property or commodities. So the spot ETF availability is a major milestone for institutional adoption. The approval of a spot ETF is a major milestone in regulatory clarity, which is tantamount to an endorsement. The engagement of Fidelity, Citadel, BlackRock, and Schwab. Schwab is synonymous with Wall Street, 100 years of Wall Street. So what you have is Wall Street coming together to offer securities and exchange services and indirectly custody services for mainstream investors. And we look out about 12 months. And if I was saying, what are the key milestones that drive mainstream adoption of Bitcoin? Well, one of them is clearly a spot ETF. The second is a designation that Bitcoin is an asset class, in which we already know that, right? The recognition of it as a legitimate commodity. It's a big deal. When Jerome Powell says it's not going away, when Gensler and the head of the SEC and CFTC both say it's a digital commodity. Digital commodity might not sound like much when you go down the next round. Like, is it a Ponzi scheme, or is it a scam, or is it tulip bulbs? The difference between tulip bulbs and a digital commodity is a 0 versus a 1. I have said it before and I'll repeat it again. Listen up. If it's not going to 0, it's going to $1 million per coin. It is either nothing, and if it's nothing, then it's getting scrubbed out and banned. And of course, we now know it's not getting banned. There is no way that Fidelity, Citadel, BlackRock, Charles Schwab, Deutsche Bank, Credit Agricole, Banco Santander all decide they're interested in this. They're not endorsing a tulip bulb, right? Once you go from 0 to 1, then the question is, well, it's an asset class, and if it's not going away, well, what's it worth? Well, it's worth 1% of the assets in the world. So 1% drives it up by a factor of 10 to 20. So there you have it. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Saylor. And more recently, Michael Saylor, when asked by Natalie Brunell on the Coin Stories pod, should we trust BlackRock with Bitcoin? Listen up to what Saylor had to share. And again, I transcribed this word for word. Bitcoin fixes everything. If we think about what that means, we need to be prepared for Bitcoin to infuse everything. The right way to think about it, Bitcoin is going to be a base layer, and there's going to be layer 2s like Lightning to move things fast. And there's going to be layer 3s, which is custodial, like Cash App, like Coinbase, like Fidelity, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Apple, Google. There's going to be custodial layer 3s, and they are going to exist to provide functionality or utility, and there are technical reasons to trust a third party. The best way to think about Bitcoin is Bitcoin offers sovereignty and integrity and empowerment, not just to the individual, but also to the family, the clan, the village, the city, the county, the state, the province, the country, the company, the institution, the agency, the group, the community, organization. Every one of these entities, they all have their own agency, and we want them to, do we not want them to have access to this? Bitcoin makes your country better, makes your company better, makes your family better, makes your community better, makes your school better, makes you better. Preach. It's going to be everything, make everyone better, but there's different types of wrappers we need to put it in. So we shouldn't be afraid of those things. Someone said, well, aren't you afraid that these big organizations like BlackRock are going to buy Bitcoin and centralize it? And I said, it's like asking me if I'm afraid someone in Japan is going to speak English and if that's going to undermine the English language. If Samsung is the biggest company in Korea and they start speaking English and they build support for English into their products, does that corrupt the English language? No, it actually makes English better. They're going to use it differently. That's the likelihood, or I mean, what's the likelihood Samsung can change that definition of love or change the meaning of 100 different words by adopting it? Not very likely. So I think it's a protocol. The protocol is going to infuse everything, and we shouldn't be afraid of all the different ways that people choose to integrate, wrap, embed, or execute with Bitcoin. There is no one right answer, and the marketplace will determine the right mix of integrations of Bitcoin. So there you have it, coming directly from the one and only Michael Saylor. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And I think these are some great points in which he made. And I also agree that a Bitcoin spot ETF is likely to be approved, and we could easily absorb at least 1% of the total addressable market, which in all honesty is going to send the Bitcoin price way north of $1 million, because the total addressable market is north of $700 trillion. So if someone could break down the math for me here, that would be fantastic. Now let's dive into our live Q&A. Massive shout out to everyone here today in the live chat. We got a jam-packed session here, about 300 people here live with us. Good to see you, Ellen. How you doing today, fam? Matthew, welcome. Maximus, welcome. What's good? What's new? What are you guys excited about? Evan Rivero, welcome to the show. Pure Vita says, I've been missing the lives. Glad to be here. Bitcoin starting a small uptrend, 100%. We pumping right now, fam. Hope it continues. By the time you read this message, it absolutely is. And I appreciate everyone here in the chat. Of course, 21 Spiegel, what's good, fam? Sailing with twins in the building. Let's freaking go. Digital Dankness, my brother from the same mother, Earth. What's poppin'? Michael Volker, what's up, plebs? Good to see you, fam. Barry, what's happening from Holland? Says the Holland Dutch Bitcoiners in the building. That's what's up. Helen, what's new? Ellen in the building. We have Ryan Handy Duncanson. What's good? We got Tough T. Appreciate you tuning in, supporting the show as you do. Krim, what's poppin'? Yes, these predictions are pretty recent. Not like yesterday recent, but in the previous weeks. Whenever I hear a new podcast and Michael Saylor is speaking, I'm listening, I'm zoned in, and I'm taking notes, and I'll listen to it over and over. I transcribe it all myself until it's in repeat in my subconscious mind, because I love the words of Michael Saylor, and the words that he preaches are so true, almost like he's downloading, you know what I mean, from a higher source, higher intelligence. Obviously, he is well connected and understands this is the smart money. I like to follow what the smart money is doing in the markets, not listening or watching what the short-term hodlers and day traders are doing. I can care less. So I know MicroStrategy continues to accumulate and dollar cost average and stack sats. So that's what I'm doing. I know ARK Invest and Kathy Wood continue stacking sats and dollar cost averaging. So that's what I'm doing. I know Max Kaiser and Stacy Herbert. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but that's the name of the game. There isn't a single Bitcoiner who has held their stash for more than 5 years that is not in the green. So the only way to lose in Bitcoin is to have weak hands, aka paper hands, and sell your stash to the likes of BlackRock or any other giants that are trying to accumulate Bitcoin right now. What's up, Jack? It's good to see you. What's up, Matt? Good evening, Baz Dragon, tuning in from the UK. Appreciate the support, fam. I am good with whatever the price is. I really hope it stays under 50,000 this year, though. A great opportunity to stack, right? The halving is going to be epic. The first time with decreasing Bitcoin supply in the exchanges. That's right. So we may have a real supply shock like we have never witnessed before. The first real halving would exactly. We're on the same page, Matthew. You got it. Chris Minka, good to see ya. Party time, says Knoxville. That's right. Fiesta here in Puerto Rico. Let's go. Hey, JV. This upcoming UFC Fight Night Zombie versus Holloway looks great. Ryan Spann versus Anthony Smith. Oh, yeah. I think I would have to go with Holloway. I would never bet against Holloway. Shout out to Max and shout out to the people in Hawaii. And for those of you who missed UFC on Saturday, Sugar Sean O'Malley is the new champion at 135 pounds. Hey, that's my weight class. So just saying, massive respect to the UFC fighters there. I love your content. You're awesome, dude. Appreciate that, John Dykes. Much love, much respect. Mr. Still Stacking in the building. What's poppin', fam? Ben C, best crypto show on YouTube. Means a lot to me. And the greatest thing you can do to help support the channel is simply make sure you like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. It's free to support the movement, and I greatly appreciate that. And we recently launched the Discord server, which can be found at discord.cryptonewsalerts.net. And I welcome and invite everyone tuned in right now to join us on Discord so we can have some good conversations and you can join the crypto community. We also recently launched a Patreon, so if you want to show your support in that way, be sure to check out patreon.cryptonewsalerts.net. And of course, all these resources are always in the show notes below the video, in the description. And of course, there's always timestamps as well. When we're live, there is no timestamp because we're live, but typically 10-15 minutes after the show, I compile all the timestamps in the description. So if you want to skip ahead to a specific segment, you can do that. Also, we just launched the Crypto News Alerts Clips channel, which is our second official channel. It could be found at clips.cryptonewsalerts.net or simply find it in the description below. But I'm going to be uploading clips each and every day from the show. So instead of a 30, 60-minute segment, it's going to be small clips, maybe 4 minutes, maybe 8 minutes, or somewhere around that length. So you can go exactly to whatever topic you want to learn about. So please do support the secondary channel. Also, it serves as a nice backup. Of course, we're also streaming live right now on Rumble, as we simultaneously stream on Rumble and YouTube each and every day. So massive shout out to all the Rumblers supporting the show. I greatly appreciate that. And of course, I share all this content on X. I'm very active. So if you're not following me on X, be sure to do so. Much love. Bitcoin Maximus in the building. What's up, McLovin? And what a great username you got, fam. Tim and Kim, welcome. Picked up another K on the dip. That's what's up. Thanks for the discount. Buying and hodling. Looking to retire in 5 years. God bless you, fam. I hope you hit all your goals. Security of Ether is decreasing. Over 51% is owned by insiders and the big fiat corporations, which keep increasing faster than individuals. You make a great point, Matthew. One of the reasons I do not trust any cryptocurrency like I trust Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the only true decentralized coin with a finite limited supply. You can't say the same about Ether. Number one, it's not decentralized, and number two, yes, it is run by big corporations, and of course, it has a lot of things like we don't know what the supply is. And if you don't know what the supply of a crypto is, you're just giving them the opportunity to manipulate things. I like to know if I'm going to be investing into a cryptocurrency, especially as like a store of value, then how do I not know how many the supply is going to be? Does that just mean they have the ability, like the US dollar, to continue just adding zeros and printing trillions? Who really knows? So that's one of the things, obviously, that makes Bitcoin Bitcoin. It's decentralized. It's incorruptible. There is no attack vector because Satoshi disappeared. Whereas with the Ethereum Foundation, you can go after them and whoever is involved with it. So it just goes to show you, where your loyalty lies. You tell me. For me, it's only in Bitcoin. John Dykes, welcome. Keep up the good work, my friend. Greatly appreciate that. Mike Matthews, welcome to the show. Appreciate you tuning in. Much love, much respect. Buying every day. Seize the moment, Ben C. That's what's up. $0 G Row. What's good, fam? Good to see ya. I do monthly buys. I pay the bills, the budget, spend the rest on Bitcoin, usually run the budget real close to the zero fiat, says Matthew. Completely understand. Personally, I keep just enough fiat in order to pay my bills. I don't keep anything extra because it makes no sense to save in fiat, considering it's like a melting ice cube, as the one and only Michael Saylor described it as. So if you had a bunch of money in the bank, you're really losing roughly 20% to inflation each and every year. So I rather keep everything in Bitcoin, where if I hold it, I know over the long term it's going to go up. So look at Bitcoin as a true savings account. Everything your bank should be doing, Bitcoin can do for you. And you don't need the bank. You don't need the banksters. We don't need the third parties. And guess what? You can self-custody your own Bitcoin and your own crypto. You don't need PayPal. You don't need to put it on any centralized exchange. You go to the exchange, which is the on-ramps, the on-ramps and the off-ramps, to do what you got to do. Maybe trade fiat for, BTC. Maybe you trade your altcoins for some BTC, whatever you may do, and then immediately remove it from the exchanges, because at the end of the day, the reality is not your keys, not your coins, or as I say, not your keys, not your cheese. You know what I mean? Let me know if that makes sense to y'all. Just bought more Bitcoin. Dollar cost average is the way to go. You already know. And how many of you took advantage of the dip at that 26th level? Looks like you made a good move, as we're fast approaching 27K. Employer needs to use ADP for the payroll. Coinbase will convert a percentage of your paycheck to Bitcoin. Interesting. He also says free of their fees, whatever that may be. I am sure they will upsell it, but then move it into a wallet. Word up, Ben C. Thanks for sharing, fam. DCA, you already know. Jason Jimenez, 5 years plus. But the dip, I think you mean buy the dip, 100%. Get it. Do what it do. And again, all 5-year hodlers are in the green. So you got to love it. I'm curious, what year did you first get introduced into cryptocurrency? Let me know in the chat, fam. and I'll read those out loud. I got introduced to Bitcoin back in 2017. It was earlier on in the year. I was watching a TED Talk from Andreas Antonopoulos, one of my favorite guys, and I think it was called The Internet of Money, and he blew my mind with this technology. I got started due to the tech and what it represents, nothing to do with I'm going to get rich in the long term, but I later discovered, wow, if I hold on to this is better than any savings account, bank yielding account, you know what I mean? And lo and behold, it was, because the Bitcoin price has gone up from around $1,500 when I first discovered it in 2017 to what? We went as high as 69,000, so not so shabby. And even today, we're getting close to 27,000 and only a matter of time before we recapture the annual high of 32,000 and head on back up as we fast are approaching the halving. And as I covered in the previous episode, some analysts, I think it was Blockware Solutions, they're predicting a $400,000 Bitcoin price at the epoch of the next halving, which means the cycle peak, and I would absolutely fancy that. How many of you would be pretty amazed at a 400,000 Bitcoin price, let's hypothetically say by the year 2025? Let me know your thoughts, chat. That would be life-changing, probably to each and every one of us here in the chat, wouldn't you say? I am concerned about the supply of Bitcoin. What are you so concerned about it? Ellen, I think the less supply there is, the better. You know what I mean? It's like, I tell my daughter, it's like a Pokemon super rare. Matthew says, to be honest, I just dollar cost average Bitcoin. I have a small position in junk just in case I need funds and emergency reserves, never selling my Bitcoin, and that is over 90% of my wealth. Well, much power to you, Matthew, smart man. Magnus says 1 million Bitcoin in 2030. Don't fumble your bags. That's right. That is a great target, by the way. Michael Saylor, I've heard him say $1 million by 2030. I have heard ARK Invest Kathy Wood predict, as high as $1.48 million, which is virtually 1.5 mil by 2030. I think that a lot of analysts would agree. Also, another one is Adam Back. He just recently bet some Bitcoin that the Bitcoin price action would hit $100,000 right before the halving. So he's virtually saying by March 31st of 2023, he bet some Bitcoin that the Bitcoin price action would hit that six-figure mark. Also a reminder, when Bitcoin hits six figures, we're going to be having a fiesta in Puerto Rico, and y'all are invited. We're going to be celebrating. We'll probably organize it once the price peaks above the current all-time high of 69,000. Then we'll start organizing it, see how many people we can get out here. We'll have a film crew. It'll be an incredible time for us to connect. You know what I mean? Let me know if you're looking forward to that. Welcome, Tim Seacat. Appreciate you tuning in, fam. Chi-Bug says, man, I just want to trade 0.1 BTC for a farm with a lake and free gas so I can fish and run some ASICs. That's what's up, fam. Robert Brady, welcome. Michael is solid in his Bitcoin knowledge. I will use the spot ETF to invest my 401k while I hold my Bitcoin for many years to come. I still believe September is going to see the best buying opportunity. Word up. I hope you're right, fam. All in on Bitcoin, small bag of ETH and Tesla. In case of emergency, I can dump to buy a furnace or whatever emergency funds I need. Word up. Ben says, I'd sell my house and buy more Bitcoin before I'd sell my Bitcoin to buy a house. Word up. Ellen, sure. I hold 2 to 3 ETH. That's what's up. Much love. Like I said, I am 95% Bitcoin. I do think it is smart to have an emergency fund to stay solvent. Word up, Matthew. Baz says, hey, JV, I've been listening but not watching the live chat. All good, Baz. I appreciate you tuning in regardless, all the way from the UK. Much love, much respect. Satwise Jenks in the building. What's good, Satwise? We also have Joe Porcheravina. JV, when do you plan on taking profits after 2024? Nah, I don't think you get it. I'm not going to be taking profits. I look at it as a generational asset. They're going to pass along to my daughter. I kind of already have everything I want. I own my house. I paid for it in Bitcoin. So I don't have a mortgage. I don't have rent. I'm living the life. So I don't see myself selling my Bitcoin at a certain price. I'm just going to continue stacking. And maybe I think it would be very advantageous to never sell your Bitcoin, but you can borrow against it, especially as the legacy financing system integrates different ways, just like we had with, BlockFi. You could have, got a Bitcoin back loan. Unfortunately, that company no longer exists and went bankrupt, but there will be more financial products, I think, especially when there is a Bitcoin ETF. So I don't think there's going to be a need to ever sell your Bitcoin, but you can leverage it and borrow against it because it is the most pristine collateral to ever exist because it's perfect money. So that's my 2 Satoshis. Let me know if you guys can relate. Pump to 69. Let's freaking go. Cracked knee. Send it. Mike Matthews, never a short answer from Michael Saylor. You got to love Michael Saylor. What's up, Miami? Says Abel Gonzalez. What's up, Miami? Solana Harvesters is actually kind of hope for a downturn. I would love to scoop up a bunch of sats. Wouldn't we all? One day closer to the $100,000 party, says Knoxville. You already know, fam. Eric Castro in the building. Bitcoin Trini. What's up, Fast Pod? Where will ETH be when Bitcoin hits $1 million? Well, a rising tide rises all ships. So I'm also a hodler of ETH. I don't believe in it as much as Bitcoin. I'm majority Bitcoin. I'd probably guess, if I was to guess, 99% Bitcoin, a little bit of ETH. But I think ETH obviously is going to have to go to the moon. I think all of the cryptos will, unless they collapse and there's some unforeseen, black swan event, like, for example, some corruption from the inside, like we saw with Scam Bankman-Fried with FTX and FTT coin, something of that nature. But overall, I like to see the entire crypto industry grow along with Bitcoin. I'm not a hater against any ish coin, FYI. I'm pro Bitcoin and I love seeing people win. And I think that every altcoin is a better alternative to the US dollar because the US dollar is the ultimate shit coin. And I totally believe that. 100%. So any cryptocurrency, in my opinion, is better than the dollar, even FTT and BitConnect, just saying. Let me actually find on these sound pads here. I actually have some epic rants from Michael Saylor. Here's a rant of Michael Saylor talking about, actually, let's do his best rants. Here's a little clip. Let's see if this plays for you guys.
Bitcoin. What's the second best? There is no second best.
All right. I don't think it's playing. I maybe didn't set it up properly, so all good. Ignore that because I started to play it and didn't hear it in my headphones. So I'm like, unless I have to plug into a different headphone jack. Maybe you guys heard it. Let me know if you started to hear the start of a Michael Saylor rant because for some reason I couldn't hear it today. I don't sell my Bitcoin either. That's what's up, Chris. Good to note. You done well, Ellen. Ellen is a beast. Keep stacking them sats. May 12th, 2021. What's that date? 2021. These are the cycles. Sell high, buy low to accumulate more. No, 100%. That's the name of the game. Oh, it was playing. Okay, so for some reason I can't hear it, but I can see it. So let me get back to the rant. Here we go. Michael Saylor.
Second best crypto asset. It isn't slightly different. Bitcoin. Right? Bitcoin's a bank in cyberspace. Everybody. And that's the only strategy. And at the end of the day, you can tell everybody go fuck themselves. You can put it in your head, memorize the freaking key, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, my Bitcoin, I lost it in a boating accident. If you push me too far, I lost it, it's gone, sorry. This entire idea of like 60% dominance is bullshit, ridiculous, stupid, right? Like, it's stupid. The point is, if you have the superior asset, it's going up forever, Laura. Forever.
Right,
incredible, large, heckloads of money. You definitely have to think long and hard. Speed of sound, speed of light. I really want the best. I don't want the average. Frightening, horrifyingly, terrifyingly entertaining, right? You're getting metaphysical on me. How about like 1,000 freaking years? It doesn't matter. Maybe. Oh my God, good discipline. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the first engineered monetary system in the history of the human race. Full stop. Just keep in mind, the basis of securities laws are biblical.
So there you have it. Let me know what you thought of that little rant from the one and only Michael Saylor. And again, shout out to the Giga Chad himself. A lot more comments are coming in. Let's switch over to Rumble. Shout out to DK 21 million. Shout out to Dankness. Shout out to Hodl Mike. Shout out to Mystical Millennial. I appreciate all the support on the new community. We are growing. There's now 452 followers on the main Rumble channel, so I greatly appreciate everyone's support over there. It does mean a lot to me naturally. And yeah, let's start reading some more comments out loud. Laughing my ass off. This is pure gold. Glad you enjoy that $0. Joe, what's up? JV, I love you, but you said never sell earlier when I asked about taking profits, but yes to my buy high, sell low. Okay, I mean, it all depends upon your situation. If you're in need of funds, it would make sense to have a goal, maybe to sell at a specific date in order to do something. So again, it's all going to depend upon you and your individual needs. And I think everyone is going to use Bitcoin a little differently, as there's a ton of different ways to use it. For me, I'm just using it as a way to protect and reserve my wealth. So I can pass it on generationally, because I truly believe the human population will be enslaved by CBDCs and the forces of evil. You know what I mean? If you can understand what I'm saying. And I think Bitcoin will be the antidote, and it's going to be our only hope for humanity until a lot of things in this world change. And so, I mean, whoever controls the money supply controls the world. And for the first time in human history, the money supply cannot be controlled because of the decentralized and incorruptible nature of Bitcoin. So some of the reasons why I'm so bullish on it. Without it, how would you conserve or preserve your wealth? The next best option would be gold, but if gold prices are manipulated and the central bankers can control it on a whim because they don't want you to exit their fiat money scheme, then what good is precious metals? You know what I mean? So what's the alternative at the end of the day? Is there an alternative to preserve your wealth besides Bitcoin that you can trust? I don't trust any currency because they're manipulated by, the forces of evil, the politicians. There's attack vectors to go after. Bitcoin is perfect money, so nobody can change that. And because of the fact that it's incorruptible, it will continue to thrive for generations to come. The last Bitcoin shall be mined. I believe it's in the year 2140. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a long time from now. So, the future is looking bright thanks to the bright orange BTC. And shout out to Satoshi. I sold almost all of mine for Bitcoin. Word up. Are you talking about your gold, Matthew? I don't understand American billionaires. They prefer living in a boring office with outdated crop ceilings, says Bryce Cooley. I don't know if you're referring to me. I mean, hey, to each their own. We all have different goals and motivations in life. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. I appreciate you tuning in, Bryce. He also says, I own 5 ounces of gold and 220 ounces of silver coins. If Mr. Kiyosaki is right, my net worth will be $13.5 million. Well, for your sake, I hope Kiyosaki is right. I hope gold and silver goes to hundreds of thousands of dollars an ounce. I'm just a little skeptical that the central banking cartels who hoard the majority of the gold would allow that, because again, they prefer you to stick with their fiat system versus precious metals, hence why they keep the price at roughly $2,000 an ounce, and that's why the gold price has been stuck and suppressed at that level for the past, decade. But obviously, with hyperinflation of the US dollar, these prices could turn out to be real. You know what I mean? I mean, if a loaf of bread ends up costing us, $10,000, then obviously all assets are going to be way higher. And maybe in the future, nothing's going to be priced in dollars because dollars will be worthless. We'll have some sort of CBDCs, central bank digital currency with an expiration date. They will incentivize you to spend it and incentivize you to not save. I think the savers are going to be the Bitcoiners because, again, Bitcoin is virtually the best savings account option that you have if you're looking to preserve, your wealth over the long haul. Let me know if that makes sense, fam. You know what I mean? Welcome, Abel Gonzalez. Send me. I'm going to the fiesta. That's what's up. Abel's coming to Puerto Rico. Looking forward to it. How many of you have ever been to Puerto Rico before? Do let me know, fam. Yeah, interesting. Very, 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 very interesting indeed. Purple, welcome. John Dykes, I thought you meant 2023. I predicted a date for the halvening. Actually, that would be in April, though. Word up. Good stuff. Yeah, we heard it. said Mike Matthews. Good to hear that. I'm glad you appreciate that sound bite. If you'd like me to play more sound bites next episode, let me know. I got maybe, I don't know, 70 or 80 clips I can put in my sound bank here. I have it filled with maybe only 20 or so right now. I got some Max Kaiser rants. I got some Michael Saylor rants. I got that rant of Mark Cuban talking about bananas have more intrinsic value than Bitcoin. I have the Warren Buffett rant of him talking about Bitcoin is rat poison squared. And lo and behold, now Warren Buffett is a big investor into the Bitcoin stocks. And also BlackRock has a lot of Bitcoin portfolio exposure through major companies such as MicroStrategy. For those that may not know that, BlackRock owns a portion of MicroStrategy. I think it's like 7 or 8%. BlackRock owns a portion of virtually every major corporation in the world, hence why they're worth $10 trillion. They even own, they're the primary shareholder of Standard Chartered Bank. So even some of the most major banking institutions in the world are owned by BlackRock. I think there's even Chinese companies owned by BlackRock. They have their hand in literally everything. So for them to be bullish on Bitcoin right now is a great sign of what's to come. Obviously, Michael Saylor recognizes this, and that's why he's calling for a $1 million Bitcoin price. You know what I mean? Belize sounds nice. Belize is a beautiful place. Grand Rapids is a very underrated city. Low crime, not like Detroit in the east side of the state. Word up. Shout out to Michigan. Growing up, one of my favorite basketball teams was the Detroit Pistons, believe it or not. Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, back in the old days when Dennis Rodman was on the Pistons. Bill Laimbeer, remember that guy with the mask? my child days. I'll be selling enough Bitcoin to pay off my daughter's college bills and enjoy the beach and the jungle life in Belize. That's what's up. Sounds amazing. We'll be visiting Puerto Rico for JV's 100,000 party, says Maximus. Looking forward to seeing you there, fam. I can't wait to see face-to-face everyone we see here every day in the chat. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be spectacular. One time I bought jewelry box at a garage sale for $25, says Bryce. When I got home, I discovered they were about $1,200 worth of gold rings and necklaces inside the box. You got to love that. I see stories like this all the time when I watch Pawn Stars. Someone's like, I bought this for $20. Is it worth anything? It's like an old book. It's worth $10,000. You never know. One person's trash is another man's treasure, as they say. There is a great place called Secret Beach on Ambergris Cay that I want to turn into a Bitcoin beach. Very interesting. Good to note. Knoxville says, I will be there with Maximus. 100,000. Send it. Let's freaking go. Shout out to John McAfee. As Mangus points out, rest in peace. McAfee was the first influencer to come on the show. Crypto News Alerts. The very first interview I did with an influencer was McAfee. This was years ago when I was a tiny channel, maybe just a few thousand subs. You know what I mean? He was the first one to believe in me. Come on the show. And he did it twice. He actually came on again before he died and was murdered in that Spanish prison. So massive shout out to McAfee. Show him a lot of love. I miss that guy. He's an amazing entrepreneur and always made me laugh no matter what video I've watched with John. What an incredible guy with an incredible sense of humor and just a very intelligent, man and just a great maverick. Someone I admire to be like, just calling it as he sees it, not afraid of anyone, any forces of evil, calling out forces of evil, and probably part of the reason, he was, kind of sad, but that's the world we live in today. Altcoin of the day. I do remember that. I do remember that. Altcoin of the day. He was probably getting paid some big bucks to promote these ish coins. But at one point, he was very prolific for Bitcoin in the early stages, for the adoption. And I sincerely believe he meant the $1 million prediction. But then as he realized that it wasn't going to happen, I think he had a change of heart and just look at things a lot different than he initially did, in my humble opinion. How did he die? He was found dead in the Spanish prison, from my understanding. They said he offed himself like Jeffrey Epstein and hung himself. I don't believe that for a minute. His wife, Janice, Shout out to her. She knows that he was murdered. We all know he was murdered by the powers that be because he spoke about the corruption. He spoke very openly about it, and he was intelligent enough, and he had a very big influence. And I think that was, a reason they went after him. I think he got arrested on tax evasion. He didn't believe in taxes. He said it was unconstitutional. So just like how they got freaking Al Capone is how they got McAfee. You know what I mean? Real talk, he got whacked 100%. He even had a tattoo predicting it. And he made a post saying, I'm going to get whacked. So I just got this tattoo. And you can't make this stuff up, fam. Anyways, now for a recap of what I covered with you here in today's show. We broke down the latest technical analysis, and don't forget to smash that like button. If you haven't hit the like, you know what to do. Hit the like, make sure you subscribe, comment, and again, I greatly appreciate it all. It all helps out tremendously. Also in today's show, we discussed that the Bitcoin difficulty adjustment jumped 6%, as well as the hash rate continues to climb, reaching new highs. We also shared one metric hinting at the opportunity of a lifetime to be accumulating BTC. We also discussed the unfortunate news that the $20 billion delay as the appeal court pushed back the decision on Grayscale spot Bitcoin ETF, and we're probably not likely to see any approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF this year. However, Gensler and the SEC have no problem approving all the futures ETFs so they can continue manipulating the markets, which is what they do best. We also discussed Bitcoin still on track for a huge bull market despite losing critical support, according to top crypto analyst Dave the Wave. And of course, we discussed Michael Saylor predicting that BlackRock, Citadel, and Fidelity will send the Bitcoin price to $1 million upon the approval of a Bitcoin spot ETF. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments right down below, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Peace.